Gold and silver prices fell on Friday, end of the week down. And this is pretty interesting given the fact that gold and silver prices were heading up slowly but surely to the upside while the dollar was coming down. But lo and behold, just out of nowhere, Friday just happened to be a pretty rough day in the markets. Not just in gold and silver, but you saw it in Bitcoin, you saw it in equities, just all around. There just seemed to be a rush to liquidity, a rush to the dollar. So if you'd had to look at the DXY started gaining. Now, yesterday I promised that I would talk a little bit more about what's been going on in the markets and with trading. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about the euphoria, the exuberance that's been happening within the markets. Now, I'm going to give you some models, but I'm going to start off by just giving you a little bit of an anecdote. And if you happen to be on just financial YouTube, you don't have to throw a stone too far before you hit a video talking about penny stocks. Now, penny stocks just seem to be like the hottest YouTube kind of content out there right now. And whether it was that one penny stock I mentioned last week called BNGO, and how I mentioned, hey, just be careful. It's very volatile. A lot of these penny stocks are very volatile. They get a lot of attention. A lot of these stocks that don't really have too much attention before some kind of news or event automatically just get this herd of people rushing into them. And unfortunately, it gets to a point where people sell off and people lose a lot of money. Here's, a particular anecdote of this company called Signal. Now, Elon Musk tweeted about Signal. You guys might have heard this. He was saying, hey, use Signal, as many people were refusing to use WhatsApp anymore. Elon Musk said, guys, just use Signal. It's encrypted, blah, blah, blah. Then he didn't even mention investing in some company, but people started investing in a company called Signal. The only problem was that was the wrong signal. It wasn't the signal that Elon Musk was talking about. It was some random penny stock that just shot to the moon. And of course, it's coming back down to earth. And we're just seeing a lot of euphoria and exuberance within the markets right now. And there are a couple of models that you can take a look at that kind of mimic this. And one is the Citigroup's Panic to Euphoria model. Now, I'm going to read this from Citigroup. It's last clocked in at 1.83. Now, that number means nothing until I read you this. So, and I quote, the Citigroup Panic Euphoria model now stands at 1.83, which is more than 4 times the euphoria threshold of 0.41, and at some of the highest levels in history. For a point of reference, during the dot-com bubble, the model showed a euphoria reading of 1.5. While there are many factors, this is a contrarian indicator that suggests there could be a stock market correction. If that were to occur, the bond market will likely be the beneficiary. Okay? So just given that information, how we're now above the dot-com bubble levels, and that we're likely going to get more stimulus. I was actually watching a Peter Schiff video, and he was talking about how some people are getting stimulus who don't really necessarily need it, and they're putting it back into the markets. You're getting a lot more retail investors as they see more and more people becoming rich off of things like Tesla stocks and what have you. They call them the Teslaonaires. So there's a lot of exuberance happening right now in the markets. And if there were to be a correction, what that will likely mean is that there would be a rush to liquidity, a rush to the dollar. If the dollar gets bid up, and this is likely going to be a short-term thing, guys, this won't be a long-term thing. But I'm mentioning this because we're at this point where we could see a bit of a correction. It may not happen, but it could happen where the dollar gets some short-term strength based off of a correction from a lot of people essentially losing their shirts, just coming out and saying it. People will lose their shirts if this were to happen. And if the dollar gains strength, then we all know what will happen with gold and silver prices and other assets as well. Some of you guys who are holding Bitcoin. So why I bring this up is because though we are expected to get more stimulus, we are expected to get more inflation as the year kicks off, in the short term, be prepared. In the short term, make sure you actually have some liquidity on your side in case you need it. Now, why have liquidity in the first place? Well, you need to have optionality. There are times when, things can get pretty scary in the markets, and having that optionality, having not to sell when you don't want to sell and already having your cash on hand and taking advantage of those prices coming down, whether it's those gold stocks you're looking at, silver stocks you're looking at. I'm looking at getting more shares of that mining company that I'm into, SSCO, Southern Copper Corporation. I'm looking to get more shares of those guys. But if I didn't have any liquidity on my side, I wouldn't be able to take advantage of that deal. So just be prepared. Keep vigilant. Thanks again for watching. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you're new. It's Black Bullion for goldandsilvertoday.com.